ATN X-SightPro. I've owned this scope for a little over a year. I'll tell you about my experience, who I think should and who I think should not buy this scope. Let's hunt. First of all, what is it? So ATN X-SightPro, if you didn't know already, it's a night vision scope. It has some other features. You can record video. You can take pictures with this scope. It has a few other bells and whistles. It has a ballistic calculator built in. You can do windage adjustments. You can save load information for different rifles or different cartridges you're shooting. The scope itself is straightforward. It's easy to use. The software, it works well. There's a little learning curve, but once you understand where everything is, it's pretty straightforward to do this. You should buy this scope if you're looking for a basic night vision scope, but you don't have $2,000-$3,000 plus to spend on a scope. There are, without a doubt, better scopes on the market. So the bang for buck ratio on this scope is right where it should be. It's amazing what you get for the price you pay for this scope, especially if you're shopping some of the deals. You should buy this scope if you want the ability to record video and take pictures. This was this was just as cool as the night vision. Even if you're never going to use the night vision functionality, the ability to record video and take pictures is really cool. You get the most out of this when you have the companion app. With the app, you can see the videos and pictures that you've taken, and you can download them directly to your phone. You can also use your phone as a second viewing device, so someone else can see what the scope is seeing, which was really cool as well. You should not buy this scope if you want the absolute best night vision scope on the market. This is what I would consider a bargain night vision scope. There are other night vision scopes, the ATN thermal scope, which I think you would spend around $4,000 for. So yeah, there are definitely other scopes on the market if you have the bank account to make that happen. You don't buy this scope if you're expecting a optical scope. An important fact to understand with this scope is there's a sensor built in that collects light and it displays it to a little screen built into the scope. Because of this, you are looking at a digital image, which is not going to be as clear as a lot of your high-end optical scopes, or even some not so high-end optical scopes. When you zoom in, you're not optically zooming in. You're digitally enhancing the image, and so you do get added graininess as you zoom in. It still works well. It's what you would expect with a digital image, but it's important to understand that. Don't buy this scope if you don't do well with technology. There is a bit of a learning curve with the software. I ended up having to troubleshoot a few different things with the scope. The main one was making sure that the scope software was updated. I had to, sometimes the scope would freeze up and I would have to shut it down and power it back up. Nothing extraordinary, but if you get frustrated easily with technology, this might not be the right scope for you. If you want to just every single time be able to go out and see through your scope and shoot, that is not this scope. You have to make sure that everything is ready to go, your software's updated, your battery's charged, everything's good and ready to go for when you get out to go shoot. And so if you're okay with that, then this is a great scope for you. One thing that I didn't love, but it's understandable, is the crosshair centering. So because this is a digital image, you can't adjust the image. And so if your crosshairs are not centered, you actually have to adjust the physical scope. So on mine, I had to shim the rear scope mount up so that the crosshairs weren't at the very bottom of the screen. And it takes some getting used to. Even now, the crosshairs on my scope are not exactly centered, which is not ideal, but it's fine. When you zoom in, it does actually center on the crosshairs, which is great. There's a few other functionalities in here that that I have played around with, but for me, it's not something that I used very frequently. So you've got a ballistic calculator and the ability to adjust for wind, which is great. The one-shot zero I did use. I mean, whenever I was moving this scope between guns or between different loads, absolutely use this. It works basically as described. You've got different reticle options. I played around with this. There's a few different things, which is nice to be able to set the scope up the way that you would like. You are able to adjust between reticle style as well as color. The battery life is fine. It worked well. I never had problems with this thing running dead. If you're out shooting all night or for a long shooting session, you may want to have a backup external battery to be able to charge off of, or plan to take a break and charge the scope for a little while. So in conclusion, this is a great scope. The bang for buck is right. The amount of money you pay for this scope and what you get is well balanced. If you're not looking for a top end night vision or thermal scope, this is the scope that you should buy. It has been really fun. I plan on continuing to use this scope and have loved it. And all right, thanks all. We'll talk to you later.